With another episode of Response and React, Nelly and Ashanti and the cost of going back, spinning the block, gone wrong. Now, the conversation around Nelly and Ashanti's relationship is triggering to a lot of women. And know that I am not here to dogpile on Ashanti. We are Team Ashanti over here. This is about pattern recognition and breaking down the cost of getting it wrong. Right? Is it your peace that you're willing to sacrifice? Is it your body? Is it your time? Is it your motherhood experience? Understand what it really costs if you decide to go back or allow someone to spin the block. And if you want the scripts plus the red flag checklist that goes with this video, please think about joining my exclusive membership on Coffee.
I told you that Ashanti was settling. I know I be hitting a nerve. Y'all be wanting to just slap the dog out of me. I get it. Because I point out things that just really bother people. Whether y'all want to admit it or not, I have for over the last almost 10 years we've been on this platform. I've called a lot of stuff before I called it. I told you that Ashanti was settling. I told you that, and I was shocked that she even settled. Now, I get that she was getting older and she wanted to have a baby and she wanted to consider who would be a good father and things like that. But at the time when I was saying, no, they're not married, I don't think she's really pregnant, I was getting it from sources. But the real nature of the issue was I just did not think Nelly really loved her, like he said, because the way that he did her the first time and he got on national TV, just like he got on TV again, and we're going to talk about it. This is not a dig at Ashanti. I know Ashanti thinks I don't like her. That has nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with this piece of shit here. This is the bottom of the barrel, and I don't care. Shout out to St. Louis. I don't give a damn. Nelly is the bottom as the bottom can get. That is scraping the bottom, and I felt like she went back in the refrigerator for leftovers when she took him back. When he did interviews back in the day and said, I felt like she was getting too clingy, I didn't want what she wanted, I wasn't into her like that. He literally said that, but he was with the girl for years because she was one of the hottest singers back in the day. And my thing is, once you show me who you are, I believe you. And so when they reunited, after he saw that she was still sexy, she was still pretty, and Chantel didn't want him, nobody was out here trying to throw. He had a baby with a girl that was cute in Atlanta right before he got her pregnant. Didn't want to come out in public with her, made her a baby mama. Y'all remember all this? But yet he gets on television to say, after Ashanti told us how he proposed, that the only reason he got married was because he didn't want Ashanti to be a baby mama. Go ahead, Jasmine, roll the receipts.
And your wife's initial reuniting, was it at the Versus?
This is the thing. When I went to Versus, I had somebody with me.
Right.
When I went to
But I'm saying, but you guys shared the stage, and the internet was like.
He had another woman with him when he was at Versus, and it was his baby mother that he never went public with. Let's go. Keep going.
But I'm saying, but
you guys shared the stage, and the internet was like, oh shit, they're in the same place at the same time. Like,
I didn't want it tense.
Right.
When I walked in, her mother had saw me, and I knew that mom was going to go back and let her know that I was in the building.
Right.
We was here to celebrate with these brothers.
Of course.
Two of my cats,
yep.
Joe and Ja, and to celebrate their music. So I didn't want it tense, and we didn't even talk. I just went over, we got a hug, break the ice, and boom. And we didn't talk for probably another almost 8 to 9 months to a year. We didn't have a conversation. That was that. But everything happens for a reason.
I think that's awesome. I think it's so dope. And by the way, kudos to you guys figuring out how to hide a wedding. How hard was that for that not to get out until after it happened?
Well, once we found out that she was pregnant, it was just like, I didn't want this to be, I don't want to say like
a child out of wedlock.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
you guys are probably already planning,
But we hadn't talked about it
right.
yet. We hadn't talked about any of that yet. I hadn't, but I was like, you know what? Let's just knock this out because we're going to be doing so much and everything's moving so fast. And I didn't want to, I didn't want her to be, a baby mama.
Jazzy, remember how bad they dragged me and said I was hating? Maybe it's the way that I deliver my news. But I promise you, I think Ashanti is so much better than this. I think she deserved better. I think she could have pulled the Eve. She really could have pulled a Eve. She could have been over there with all of her family, white, and she's the queen at the end of the table with their money that's gonna be left to her, billions. But instead she went back to Nelly and having to go grab her purse and put on sunglasses to go bail his ass out of jail for Molly. Pregnant. And you mean to tell me after him reuniting with her, after dating her before and then dating her again, that it took him not wanting her to be a baby mother because it was bad for her brand, and Tasha K was online throwing his ass under the bus, like just really making her look bad. Jasmine, do you have that video of Ashanti? Because y'all dragged me too. Oh no, I'm rubbing it in y'all face. Y'all dragged me too when she came out to say how he proposed.
Things in your life. Not only are you expecting a little one, you're also engaged. Tell me about the proposal. Were you emotional? Were you overjoyed?
It was just such a beautiful, intimate moment. We were not dressy.
What do you like, PJs?
Yeah, I definitely had on like one of his t-shirts and his boxers. It was very like I had absolutely no idea.
Oh, he completely shocked you?
Completely. I mean, I felt like it was gonna come soon. I didn't know when, right? And the way that it happened was just so funny. I'm sitting in the bed watching TV with boxers on, you know what I mean? It's not really sexy.
So it was just like an intimate moment, the two of you.
Yeah.
How did you celebrate?
I cried. I gave him the biggest hug and kiss ever. I FaceTimed everyone I know.
Yeah. Was mom in tears again?
Of course.
Yes.
Mom and dad and my sister we were all in the same city. Oh, nice. So that worked out really, really cool. I was overjoyed and shocked and surprised and happy, kind of like all in one.
Beautiful.
Dude reached over in the drawer. Never mind her family being in town. Never mind him hiring an event planner to give her a beautiful proposal. Never mind any of that. We're gonna do this again. Well, I don't need no one need. You living here, you pregnant, bitch, do you want the ring or not? All right, we're doing this. Having a man is better than not having one at all. And definitely having a man with money is better than not having one at all. But Shanti makes her own money. So it ain't nothing that Nelly can give her that she can't give herself. But they do get a bigger bag together because the couple shit sells, especially with them having a reality show so soon. But yet he's still finding time in his spare time to get arrested, and they're finding Molly pills in the car. Your wife was 9 months pregnant. Who you using Molly on?
Are you tired of unreliable phone plans?
Can you hear me now?
What about never having service and having to spend all your hard-earned money on hidden fees? And don't even get me started on the customer service. Surely tired of phone plans ganging up on you. Get Rockstar Wireless. Say goodbye to big phone bills. Switch to Rockstar Wireless for unlimited talk, text, and data for just $19.99 a month. And never be held down by your phone bill again. Rockstar Wireless has your back. Stay connected with Rockstar Wireless.
I high-key feel bad for Ashanti because not only are you dealing with a man who is not helping you with y'all child, you're dealing with a man who is a complete selfish sellout. I'm from St. Louis. Nelly is a legend. He put St. Louis on the map, but his reputation is completely ruined. There has always been rumors about his character and how he just was not a good person. But I don't know him. But the not helping her change diapers, not waking up in the middle of the night, Ashanti looks over it. She looks so disgusted with that man at this point. And then you try to justify performing at the inauguration for a known racist. Every opportunity is not a good one. I just personally feel like Ashanti doubled back. Her and Nelly had a connection, and she wanted a baby. She felt like she's getting old, and now she's low-key regretting it, and you can see it all over her freaking face. And like her mama said, what he does affects you. His character and you standing behind him for having a whack-ass character is going to trickle down on you, even if you don't agree with it. And this is why choosing who you marry, choosing who you have children with, it's just the most like biggest decision that you ever make in your freaking life. I'm praying for my girl.
I absolutely hate that Nelly and Ashanti are doing this show. I think that they are exposing way too much of their business. They have opened themselves up for criticism, and we're criticizing their asses, and rightfully so. The way that these red flags are just flagging throughout every single episode, I really cannot believe that my good Libra sis has subjected herself to this foolishness and committed her life to this man. I mean, I already feel some type of way about bending the block. That has never been something that I personally believed in. It's never been something that I have personally done, and this is why. So from episode 1, I feel like Nelly just doesn't have the attitude of a married man. And the reason I say that is because marriage requires compromise. We know that marriage requires commitment, but we don't think about the compromise that it requires. To have a my way or the highway attitude with anything within your marriage, to me, is a red flag. That means that you are not willing to meet your partner halfway. In this case, when it comes to where they're going to live, which has been a constant topic of conversation, Nelly has made it very clear, and apparently he's been making it clear, that he's not living in New York. I understand people are like, well, he set his boundaries. He let her know ahead of time. He doesn't want to live in New York. I get that. However, to not be willing to bend a little bit for your newborn baby, to me, is unacceptable. I don't think that he, needs to live in New York for the rest of his life, but I think that you would be okay for 6 months or a year until your baby is a little bit more independent, especially when you've made it equally clear that you ain't got nothing for that baby. To say those words is just offensive, first of all. I get that some men are not comfortable with babies, but this ain't his first baby. This is number 3. I get that some men don't feel like it's their duty to change the diapers, especially when they are providing in other ways. However, being able to afford a nanny, a night nurse, au pair, whatever you can afford for your family does not negate the need for you to provide partnership. And partnership means we're a team. We're each going to play our role, and your role is not just paying the bills. Ashanti can afford to hire her own nannies, right? So it's not like you're doing something for her that she can't do for herself. The point is, nobody wants to feel alone with a newborn. If you see your partner struggling, you should be willing to step it up. I am going to say, though, it does seem like he didn't really want this baby. The only reason I say that is because when they mention a second baby, he says, no, I'm not on board with that yet. I'm going to need a little bit more convincing. So many of these comments that he's making, I feel like you're not supposed to say this on camera. That is supposed to be kept between you and your wife. And if she is okay with that, cool. But when people like me and the rest of these strangers get to see it, we feel some type of way about it. You shouldn't need to be convinced to have a baby. You either want a baby or you don't want a baby. And if you don't want a baby, don't have a baby. But don't have a baby and then not want to be a daddy. That's unacceptable, regardless of how much money you have. A true provider provides more than just bill money, okay? He should be providing partnership, which brings me to what I feel like was one of the biggest red flags. This one is something I haven't seen many people talking about. So when they were talking about being together the first time and how, he had planned on proposing 11 years ago, he says, at that time, I just wasn't really ready for marriage. Then he says, but I think it's going to work this time. Ooh, I wanted to smack him through the... Listen, even if you think, please don't say that. Please don't give any inkling of doubt in this marriage that you are currently in. Because what do you mean I think it's going to work this time and y'all done already pledged your lives to each other? Ashanti, blink twice. We can't save you, sis. But I hate that y'all did this. I hate that we are in your business. I hate that I'm triggered by every episode. Please know who you are marrying.
See that Ashanti and Nelly shit? That's the reason why I'm pro-choice. That's exactly why I'm pro-choice. Nelly told Ashanti that he will not be changing any diapers. He will not be taking care of the baby until the baby can walk and talk on his own. Because that's ridiculous. That is honestly ridiculous. He said prepare to basically be a single mama. After having a baby, I realized that a lot of y'all don't need to have babies. Y'all just don't. Y'all just don't. And Nelly like 40, bruh. He like 40. And he told his homeboys this too. And his homeboys was just like laughing, like nobody even said, nigga, you don't think that's weird? He talked about how he sleeps through the night when a baby's crying. You don't even get up. Like, y'all, like, ladies, this is why I be trying to tell you, hey, do not have a baby. If you got second thoughts about that nigga, please believe that second thought and just go to the clinic. These niggas are terrible, bro. Until you actually have kids, because people tell you, like, hey, man, it's hard. And you be like, okay, I'm prepared, I'm ready, like, cool. But it's not, but it's harder than what you expect. It's different. And only people with kids understand, man. Niggas said, niggas 40, bruh. Niggas basically said, I'm not doing shit. Niggas don't want to be a dad. Niggas don't want to do nothing. Like, ladies, just be careful who you get pregnant by. Just be careful, honestly, bruh. Just be careful. Like, oh my God, oh my goodness. Just niggas be 40, bruh. Niggas be 40.
All right, I'm ready. So, Nelly and Ashanti, first thoughts. I binge watched the whole show. I think that Nelly and Ashanti are adorable. I think they're really cute. I love they have this like family around them that helps them. Yeah, that's all the good shit I gotta say. So first of all, I'm tired of hearing about how he's coming second to a baby. He's a 50-year-old man with 5 kids. And he is constantly reminding this brand new mother that she's putting a brand new baby before his grown ass. I know y'all like to think that things like that aren't a big deal, but they are. It's manipulative, has no compassion for what it means for her to be going through that, not only emotionally and mentally, but hormonally and physically. And I don't feel like at this point in life, if you were a mature 50-year-old man, you would still be competing with a fucking newborn baby. Then all of the attempts to make him feel seen, her planning parties, running herself ragged, pumping milk, singing, working, spending time with the family. Then he lets her know that he is not moving to New York and wants her to move to St. Louis. She'll be over there with all of his family. And even though they seem like really sweet people, they are dependent upon him. And her being inside their family means she's probably going to be emotionally bullied to do whatever the family thinks is best for Nelly, because the family is tied to Nelly and him making money and all of that. And y'all know how that goes. When celebrities are taking care of their entire families, the families become yes men because they just want to make sure that he's able to do what he has to do so that everybody can continue to live well. And also protect his image and all of that. But he seems to have a gambling problem. He seems to have a substance problem, whether it's alcohol or other things, because the facial expressions that he was making was worrying me. Like I was feeling a little nervous and didn't know what was happening with these Joker-like smile moments that he would have. Like it's given, you don't know how you look because you're on something. I don't know. I can't say. I feel like I saw Ashanti go from being very boisterous and, laughing and funny and all of this to being very quiet, swallowing a lot. You can tell she has a lot on her mind and just knows it's in her best interest not to say anything. And so she goes along with him performing at Trump's inauguration, even though you could tell that's not what she wanted. And he's making all of these excuses when you can tell he just wanted the money. It's not about any of that other shit. Oh, I respect the office. That's bullshit. You don't respect any of that shit. You respect money, and they was paying. No matter how much money it seemed like he has, nobody has an endless pit of money. So something tells me he took that job to make sure that he's still able to live the life he's become accustomed to while he gambles away his money and then invest a lot of it in bringing back apple bottoms. And I wish he would just stand there and say, hey, they paying, and it's a paying gig. I would rather him say that than sit there and act like that man is not the tyrant and the racist that he is. And it's so jarring to see Black hip hop artists that originally started out kind of having this fight the power mentality and this us Black people mentality to now selling everybody out for these one-off large payments or so that they can get their ass out of looming trouble. I would rather you just show that you feel ashamed than you to come up here and try to play on everybody's fucking top about it. Okay. But yeah, y'all, Ashanti and Nelly look fantastic. They look amazing. They look so loving and so supportive. And yeah. Y'all happy?
So I don't think Nelly really likes Ashanti. I think Nelly likes the fact that Ashanti's in the industry. Ashanti's beautiful. Ashanti has a lot to offer. Ashanti may be a good person. And the past relationship they had, there were several good times. Ashanti fits the mold and she fits the position of everything that he needs as an artist. And I think she feels the same way about him, but ultimately she really does love him. Now, I think he can love her, but not like her. And I hope you can understand that. I see nothing in his demeanor in dealing with this show and dealing with her and the new baby that says that Nelly would go out of his way to ensure that she and the baby were okay. If she decided to leave today, I think Nelly really would just be like, okay, cool, I'm gonna move on and do me. And maybe that's just the attitude he gives off to me, or maybe that's just his demeanor. But ultimately, I don't think he really likes her. You ever known someone that you have gotten back with someone from back in the day, and you thought from back in the day it was going to be the same sparks were going to be there? Yeah, that's what's going on with this situation. So let me know what you think about this situation, and do you think they will make it? Because ultimately, I think if Ashanti leaves, Nelly cool. I think if she stays, Nelly like, yeah, I'm cool. But hey, I don't think he likes her. Have a good day.
Ashanti, come to the front of the class. Now I'm gonna say what everyone else is thinking, okay? Why did you have a baby with Nelly? Why? I just want to know why. Because Nelly at 50 years old gives grown man baby child, okay? How are you gonna get jealous of your own kid when your wife is giving attention to your newborn baby? Why are you getting jealous of the attention she's giving the baby? Red flag ick number 1, okay? Remember that one. Ick and red flag number 2, telling her, oh my God, I'll take care of the baby as soon as the baby is able to walk and ask for food. Last time I checked, Ashanti didn't lay down and make that baby by herself. Okay, you definitely participated in the extracurricular activity, so why aren't you helping her? Excuse me? At your grown age? Also talking about, oh, I lended a couple of them some money and they owe me money. Like, what? Also, I'm just going to say the relationship doesn't give what anyone thinks the relationship gives. It gives very much, honey, she wanted the relationship, he didn't, she trapped them. He got trapped. Or it's given arrangement. He decided, okay, I'll give you a baby. You waited this long, I'll give you a baby. But, like, it gives arrangement. It doesn't give, like, what it needs to be give. She looks exhausted, okay? Also, him trying to tour in his 50s is crazy. Once again, I told you, these celebrities is broke, baby. Okay, because why is she without? Why is she without? Anyways. Whatever.
I literally didn't want to do this. If y'all notice, I haven't said shit about this couple. Nothing. I'm not going to get into how I posted a long ass time ago. The video's still on my TikTok about this man grooming a child on stage. I'm not even going to get into that. Okay? This is a prime example of how circling back is not a good idea. Y'all let this couple fool y'all into thinking you needed to go retract and make it work with that nigga that you left. You left him for a reason. This is my message to Ashanti. I'm not even going to get on Nelly. Okay? I'm not going to get on him. Okay? A little bit. Let me tell you something, Ashanti. The baby's here. It is what it is. Take your child and move to New York with your family. This man has been, in my opinion, this man has been using you from day one to rebrand. He's jealous of your child. He's a narcissist, a proud one. Okay? I'm not gonna go in the way that I want to. I feel like you are we always have loved you, Ashanti. Me even being a vocalist, even back in the day, like your voice, it sounds better. We ain't gonna get on that, but your voice sounds better now than it did when we was younger. Like you really them one of them ones. You're beautiful. Take your child and go be with your family. Nelly don't want to move it. We know that you didn't want to do the reality show. Like he's literally putting all of y'all business out there. This is the reason why you didn't want to do it. Because you didn't want us to see that you didn't marry this motherfucker and had a baby with him. Biggest mistake of your life. Prime example of what I said in my other video, having money and good deeds sometimes can cloud a woman's judgment. This her first and only child. This man proudly admits that he don't want shit to do with the baby until the baby can talk. Basically. He's jealous of the baby. He's literally jealous of the baby. This nigga got grown kids. He doesn't want to leave his throne in St. Louis because they treat him like a god, I'm sure. He don't want to go to New York because he'll be Ashanti's his husband, not Nelly. You understand? She's just trying to get some resources and with the baby. Girl, leave him. I'm not gonna get on him, but this man, he ain't no different than Diddy and them. I'ma just put it like I'ma just leave it at that. Go into my videos and find that video. What I did is I twitched somebody else's video. That video is no longer available, but my video is still there. Had a kid on stage, a little girl. Listen, go look at it. She should have never got back with this motherfucker. And I haven't said nothing ever since everybody was like, oh, Ashanti. Now that this reality TV show has shown clips, worst mistake sis could have ever made. Run, Ashanti, before it's too late. I'm gonna leave it alone.
That Nelly and Ashanti clip is the perfect example of how people will hold resentment for how you were able to leverage your experiences in life to create better opportunities for yourself. So if you didn't see that clip at the Breakfast Club, he was pretty much talking about how, like, you know, she had it easy. She grew up in a 2-parent household. He only had 1 parent in the house, and he had to struggle and get it out the mud and da-da-da-da-da. And it is, you know, evident in the way that he treats her that he resents her for it. So he talking about he don't want to support her, you know, with the child, like, you know, be an actual active parent in the child's life until it could walk and talk, because that's her duties. And essentially, like, when people do things like that, what they want to do is balance the scales in a way so that if they feel like you had an advantage in one part, they want you to be disadvantaged somewhere else so that y'all could be on the same level. But then what people who do things like that don't realize is that they're perpetuating the same cycle, right? And a lot of times it's intentionally or subconscious, it depends, right? But essentially they're envious of their partner. They're even envious of the child, because why would you not want to provide and support your child, provide for and support your child in a way that you weren't supported? It's because they want to level the playing field. I have a, not a family member, like a family of family. And he was talking about how he would have been so further off in life if his mother did X, Y, and Z. And I'm saying here, like, that's tea, because you're 50. You feel me? And no shade. So, like, I was like, you know, okay, I get that. But I was like, now you in control of your own thing. I was like, are you showing up for your children in ways that you wish your mother showed up for? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, you got beef with your kids actively right now. You beefing with your children. You see what I'm saying? But a lot of times they victimize themselves so much that they continuously think of all the disadvantages that they have, that they can't figure out ways to create beauty in their life in the current. They're so busy thinking about, so like, this is like misery loves company. They want to pull everybody on the same level, or pull everybody on because their victimization is more important than creating something beautiful in the present for them and everybody involved. And so the cycle continues because nobody's willing to heal. And it gets to the point where, like, you realize a lot of people don't want to admit that they were, you know, like, they want to feel like a victim, but they don't want to be. It's a weird. I remember when I first got into therapy, my therapist was the one who had to tell me that I was victimized by certain things, because I just didn't want to be seen as, like, in my head, I was like, I put it in a box, like, it was in a box. And a lot of people, like, they want to have that feeling of, you know, getting the attention and having, like, an excuse to victimize other people because they were victimized, but they also don't want to actually address the fact that they're a victim. So anyway, I have a lot of feelings towards it, but long story short is, if we heal, we could actually be present and continue to create beauty. If not, it's going to be everybody infecting each other with the same virus of resentment and envy and hate of the people that you should be creating love with. And what's the real tea? Like, the what I said in the beginning is, like, you know, they resent you for leveraging your experiences in a way that's beneficial to you. The real tea is, you know, these people think that they're the only people who are victimized. You see what I'm saying? Like, they don't realize that the people who they see have it good, who had 2-parent households, who have all these advantages, were also disadvantaged in other ways. They just leveraged their experiences to make it beneficial to them and refuse to continue the cycle of making ugly experiences for themselves and other people. That be the real tea. Heal.
So I just saw Nelly and Ashanti on the Breakfast Club, I think, and he said that he grew up with nothing, she grew up wanting nothing, basically comparing their childhood. And baby, when I tell you those will be the men that is coming into your life solely to humble you, baby. Yes, he's going to make it seem as if he loves you so much in the love bombing phase, you might fuck around and believe it. And as soon as y'all fuck around and have a child, he will start to compare his childhood and tell you the reason why he won't help you with those kids and all the things like that is because he ain't never seen a man do it for his mama and all of the shit like that. They'll try to make your life seem hard. See, that's why he don't want Ashanti to move to New York, because he know that she will have the help that he's not giving her on purpose. He know that her mama gonna step. He know that whatever's gonna needs to happen is gonna happen, because in Ashanti world, like he said, she's the alpha. You supposed to protect the alpha because the alpha bring home everything. He simply wants that lady to not have nothing and need him for everything, so that she could understand that she's beneath him. She's humble. She needs to be who he says she is, and that's that. Nothing more, nothing less. Lady is to be seen, not heard type shit. No, Ashanti, if you don't do nothing else, girl, you need to motherfucking leave, because it is no way you're gonna let motherfucking Andale play with you like that.
So the Ashanti and Nelly situation is a disappointing one. And I'm going to say something that a lot of people might not like that I say this, but it's a disappointing one because Ashanti deserves much better, much better. She deserves a partner that will support her through all of these firsts. She deserves a partner that will sacrifice where sacrifice is needed and it's not a huge discomfort for them. She deserves to have all the support that is needed through this time of once again of all of these firsts. I get it, Nelly has kids, I get it, Nelly has been there, done that, but Ashanti hasn't. And Nelly was aware of that when they got back together, and he was aware of that when he decided to participate in the child making process. And I just think that, and this is the part that a lot of you will not but Ashanti could have did what Eve did, what Serena Williams did. She could have did what Sierra did. All of these women literally chose to separate from toxicity of certain parts of our culture and just choose themselves. There was no loyalty to a race. There was no loyalty to a culture. There was 100% loyalty to themselves and their happiness. And I feel like there are some women, and in this case, we're just going to say Ashanti, I feel like she felt that she was already being dragged enough for the Irv Gotti situation. I feel that she was, of course, for years, she's like this kind of bombshell. She wasn't a secret, she was private, but she wasn't secret. We always wondered, oh my God, she's on the beach and beautiful bikinis and things of that sort. And she gets with Nelly, which is cool. It's it's kind of interesting because it's kind of like spinning the block, but it's spinning the block in the wrong way. And a lot of people are against spinning the block, and this is the exact reason why. I mean, there's no reason for Nelly to be so adamant on living in St. Louis. I saw another TikToker say this, so I won't even take credit for it. But and I don't remember her handle. I think she's like the top person that commented on this particular topic. But she said Nelly is a big fish in a small pond in St. Louis, and he would basically be a nobody in New York. Not a nobody, but there would be so much that he would have to do here to be relevant as much as he is in St. Louis. And that's the only thing that makes sense to me. The talking about the changing the diapers, waking up in the middle of the night. My fiance and I have had this conversation about having children, about if I wanted one, his words, if I wanted one, he would give me one. Those words, that verbiage made me no. I want a partner. And not only that, I know from a good friend of mine, her parents were wealthy. They're wealthy, and they live in South America. And when she was raised basically by her nanny. As soon as she came home from the hospital, she's like any of the kids that came home, the nanny took right away. They slept in the nanny's room. Her mom didn't wake up in the middle of the night. There was no discomforts with her parents. And that's how I would be. And she is not really happy. She doesn't have a great relationship with her parents because of that. So it's like, I would be selfish in that way of giving my kid to the nanny. And so I can see why Ashanti's not doing that. But there are so many resources that they have. I still am like, there are certain things that, these conversations could have been had beforehand very, very easily. Very easily. And I get also with her mom, she wants her mom to support her and all this other stuff, and she wants to live in New York.
where she's familiar. And it kind of reminds me also of the Cardi B and Offset situation, because as soon as they ended up separating, she went back to New York. She got out of Atlanta. She did not have a relationship with in Atlanta outside of him. And this is where like you kind of think about where you want to build your life. And where do you want to raise? Do I want to raise my kids in the States? Probably not. Do I want to raise them in Italy? Probably not as well. That is enough of a reason also to not have children. So like these conversations, and you guys can comment down below and let me know what you think about this. These conversations, in my opinion, are so important to have before you get into a situation like how Ashanti is right now. It's pretty sad because she could have still gotten a guy who is relevant in rooms, that has a lot of money, that can continue to keep her on a type of a pedestal or something like that. But she chose to spin the block. And I think culturally, of course, they're getting attention for that. But I think that she still could have got attention in a lot of great, beautiful opportunities without this type of drama. If you look at Serena Williams, her and her husband, they have a great situation that they display. And I know they don't have a reality show, so we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. But the parenting, the wanting to participate is there. With Serena, with Eve and her husband were dating for years before they had a kid. She was living abroad. She had made relationships. She had decided that, hey, I like the way the education system is. I like, I have a sort of community here. Ashanti doesn't have a community in St. Louis, which is why she doesn't want to stay there. Eve stayed in the UK and built a community before she had a baby. These are just things that kind of like, when you look at it, it just, or when I say it out loud, it just seems like common sense. And I get the excitement that probably Ashanti got, and the fuel and the attention that they were getting, like they got back in the days when they were dating. And, yes, they're still relevant, but they definitely are not as relevant as they were before. I can see them seeing like, oh my God, we are trending. Let's keep this going. I mean, look how many social media couples stay together because they are trending. I can see that, but she could have did better. She didn't need to trend. She was already successful. She was already loved. She already had like so many things going for her. And y'all can let me know how y'all feel, but the whole entire situation, I don't feel that this TV show is going to do what they wanted it to do, from what I've heard thus far. And black people also are not really supporting Nelly after that whole inauguration thing. I'm just saying.
Let's jump into my favorite part of all of the content I post on YouTube. And that's just my thoughts, where I get to kind of express what I feel about whatever we have read or gone over. So let's get into it. All right, let's get into it. And y'all know how I like to do in these videos. I like to take about 5 or so pertinent points from the videos we just watched and kind of break them down into a framework where I am letting you guys know these are things to notice and things to look out for and things to ask questions about when you are out here dating with intentionality. Let's start. So, point 1, the newborn competition red flag. Understand that a mature partner does not compete with a baby, period. Not a little bit of time, not often. He doesn't even joke about it. If a man is framing your newborn as taking his place, air quotes, that's emotional immaturity. And it's often turned into a game of manipulation and a point he uses to beat a postpartum mother up with guilt. So an example of this is if you can hear it in the commentary around him acting like he's, coming second to the baby, know that he really means that. And the vibe of I'll help when the baby can walk and talk, stuff that we heard Nelly say throughout their series, that's not leadership. That's opting out. That is a man who sees his child as just a way to anchor the mother that he doesn't really feel responsibility for or connected to the child in an emotional way. And he is going to use that kid as a pawn in terms of talking about it. Oh, you're choosing the kid over me. No, my guy, that is a newborn baby. All of its needs, every single one of its needs has to be met by the parents, more specifically, usually the mother. But that doesn't mean the father needs to opt out, and is extremely problematic when the father wants to position themselves as competition to a baby at all, but especially a newborn baby. The transition to parenthood is consistently linked to a drop in relationship satisfaction for many couples, especially in that first year postpartum, right? So, research also shows that when partners feel the division of childcare slash household labor is unfair or doesn't match expectations, relationship satisfaction also tends to drop. That's why I'm not doing diapers isn't a joke to many women. It's a forecast, and it's also a labor sentence. Before you commit to pregnancy or cohabitation, here's something I'd like you to think about. Ask the person that you plan on living with, cohabitating with, marrying, having children with, whatever the case may be, what do nights look like with a newborn? Really listen to their responses, because that is going to tell you so much about the type of life you're going to be living if you choose to cohabitate and have a child with that person. Next question to ask is, what task will you do personally? No nanny, no excuses. And if he gets defensive, that's information you should not ignore. I have a partnership vetting checklist on my coffee, and it will definitely help you if you run into this situation and effectively navigate the situation. Point number 2, I didn't want to be a baby mama, or I don't want you to be a baby mama. That isn't romantic, okay? And that is a big reason why Nelly decided to marry Ashanti and procreate with her. That is really tragic, actually, because that man is 50 years old saying bullshit like that. He has no problems, saying, I don't want you to be a baby mama, but he has a problem understanding why that statement is problematic in comparison to saying, I love her, I want to be with her, and I wanted to marry her. So, she's mine 24/7. She can't nobody else be in her face. And I wanted to have children with her. I wanted to raise a family with her. He didn't say none of that, right? So him saying, I don't want you to be a baby mama is not the flex he thought it was. Let's be real. I don't want you to be a baby mama is definitely not protective. It's more territorial. And it insinuates he sees her as property in some way, shape, or form. And in the clip being discussed, the framing is basically like, once pregnancy happened, let's knock marriage out so you're not a baby mama. The optics aren't great on that. Like, that's basically what he said to her. You do not want a man who sees you like that. That is, let that man go. You may think it's flattery, but it's really not. A strong predictor of stability isn't grand gestures. You have to realize that. It's consistent commitment and a lot of times quiet actions and behaviors and shared meaning over time. Very important, right? This is why relationship science emphasizes day-to-day reliability and responsiveness more than performative moments. When couples enter parenthood, stability often depends on whether both parents treat parenting as teamwork, not a role one person carries out. So an action step here that I want you to take is listen to what's centered in your partner's speech, right? If it's how it looks more than how I'll show up, slow down. Ask, what will you do when it's hard, not cute? Because from what we are seeing and what we've seen with Nelly and Ashanti's relationship, and especially in that Peacock series they had, he wanted to do a lot of things for aesthetics, right? He wanted to do a lot of things for the look. And honestly, based upon the problems that he's had in the past, coming out of a relationship with Miss Jackson and his legal troubles there, partnering with someone like Ashanti, who has a clean image, who is well liked by her audience, is a good look for him. So to me, it seems he is very, very focused on aesthetics and not so much the actual pouring in of himself into a relationship. So my coffee members get my 3-question intent versus image test if you join. Point number 3, compromise versus my way or the highway. Remember, marriage requires compromise and boundaries are healthy. But refusal to bend ever is a warning sign, especially when there's a newborn, because a newborn is a game changer. And if, Ashanti wanted to move to New York so she'd have more support, Nelly didn't want to move. He also felt that a lot of things she was suggesting violated his boundaries. And I think he was just using therapy speak just to not compromise, in my opinion. This whole St. Louis versus New York tension, it was unnecessary. That's not just about geography, it was about power, because he has all the power in St. Louis. The I'm not moving can translate to my comfort matters more than your postpartum support system, because only thing she got there is her family. Now her mom came out for a little bit to help, but everybody, that's the support system that she has in St. Louis is his family. And remember, he's probably fitting the bill for everything, and most likely his family's going to be loyal to him and want to do everything to appease him. That does not put her in a great position or spot to genuinely be or feel supported. Postpartum is a high stress transition where support systems do matter, practically and emotionally. And studies of couples after childbirth note a decline in perceived fairness around housework and childcare sharing, which can strain satisfaction. So relocating away from support while also reducing your partner's help can become a double burden. And as we saw on the show, Ashanti looked tired and burdened all the time. On top of all of the yin yang that Nelly was constantly spewing, she was dealing with real life changes. She had just had a child, and she was in a postpartum body. Her hormones were still doing what hormones do postpartum. So, and he was not willing to compromise and really show up as a supportive parent and partner to make sure that she felt that she was getting what she needed. An action step here is to really think about your non-negotiables. Know that a non-negotiable is rarely a city or a location. It can be. Circumstances are different for every person. It can be, but it usually isn't. So if someone is not willing to compromise on things like that, and especially if they know the why, like Nelly knew why she wanted to go to New York, so she could have her support system, especially being a brand new first-time mom. It wasn't like she even suggested it out of the blue. He understood the why, and he didn't care. It was not for his best and highest good and comfort. Watch out for a man who never wants to compromise, because his comfort is always centered. Point number 4, resentment plus leveling the field. Okay. Some men don't want partnership. They want to humble you. Understand, every time a man talks about humbling a woman, replace humble with harm. A man is trying to harm you. It may not be physically, but it may be financially, it may be emotionally, it may be psychologically. It could be just to waste your damn time. Anytime a man ever says anything about humbling you, he means harm. And I need you to take that to heart. It's not a turn of phrase. It's not something cute. He is intentionally trying to take you out the game in some way, shape, or form. Like I said, it's not about physical and violence usually. Not usually. It can be, but usually it's not. It's about trying to be a roadblock in your path, be somebody who causes you consternation or stress in some area of your life. Any man who ever talks about humbling a woman is trying to harm her. Okay? Just want to put that out there. If he resents your upbringing and your success, your stability, he may try to create hardship so you need him. Or he's trying to create hardship because he could never verbally talk to his parents about how he felt about his upbringing. So he's trying to punish you for what you didn't even have anything to do with. A theme in, Nelly and Ashanti's partnership, marriage, etc., is that he had it hard and she had it easier. And now there's this energy of, well, you can handle it. That's not love, that's punishment. Like I said, any man who's trying to humble you, he's trying to harm you. He wants to punish her. He wants to punish her because her parents showed up and decided to raise their children in a different environment than his parents did. That is not a conversation for her. That is a conversation he needs to have with his parents. So, resentment and chronic negativity are consistently linked with relationship distress, especially during major transitions like parenthood. So when one partner feels unsupported during postpartum demands, satisfaction tends to fall. So the translation here is unresolved emotional wounds don't stay private. They show up in how someone treats you. And that's why it's very important to get with a man who has worked on his own healing and worked on, resolving the issues from his past. You are not his therapist, and that is not your job to help him heal. That is work that he needs to do on his own through his own desire for growth and maturity. An action step here is to understand if a man keeps score about what you had growing up versus what he had. Ask, do you admire me or are you competing with me? And there's a lot of men competing with women. And I would say this is especially true with black men who are partnering with successful or perceived successful black women. There's a competition there, and that you need to just be cognizant of that and ask questions to pinpoint that. My coffee members actually have a resentment radar checklist that they can go and access to dig a little deeper into this. So point number 5, values tell the truth. Money, image, politics, public moves, etc. Every opportunity isn't a good opportunity. Remember, your partner's public choices, who he aligns with, what he defends, what he'll do for money affect you. Marriage is a reputation merger, right? And we saw this when Nelly decided to do the inauguration performance, and it hit so hard because many people saw it as a value signaling, not just a gig. He didn't care that she was upset. And I don't believe he believed half the crap he was saying and respecting the office and all. It had nothing to do with that. It may partially, but I think it's more so he did it for money. So it prompted the question, even subconsciously, what is Nelly willing to do for money? And if he just doesn't have a moral compass to stand on, because he would go and perform for someone who has done so much to harm the community in which he is a part of, the black community, why would you perform for this man, right? Nelly faced a lot of public backlash for performing at the ball tied to the current president for his inauguration. And then he publicly defended his decision. Regardless of where anyone lands politically, the relationship lesson here is simple. Your partner's decisions create consequences you may have to live inside. And that's what happened, even if you don't choose them. I believe that we've seen this to a lesser extent because I believe holistically, most people really do like Ashanti. We still like her music, and she has shown up in a pretty consistent way throughout her whole career. So it didn't make me change my opinion on Ashanti. I would still go see her. I would still listen to her music. But Nelly choosing to do that made a lot of people kind of fall back on him. And Ashanti, now that she's his wife, is going to reap some of those consequences. Action step here is you should ask yourself, can I respect his judgment? Can I stand beside the consequences of his choices? If the answer is no, don't force it. That is not the partner for you. So comment and let me know your thoughts below. Hey lovelies, this is Janelle, the relationship coach behind the Successful Invisible, and I'm here with another episode of Response and React. Nelly and Ashanti and the cost of going back, spinning the block, gone wrong. Now, the conversation around Nelly and Ashanti's relationship is triggering to a lot of women. And know that I am not here to dogpile on Ashanti. We are Team Ashanti over here. This is about pattern recognition and breaking down the cost of getting it wrong, right? Is it your peace that you're willing to sacrifice? Is it your body? Is it your time? Is it your motherhood experience? Understand what it really costs if you decide to go back or allow someone to spin the block. And if you want the scripts plus the red flag checklist that goes with this video, please think about joining my exclusive membership on Coffee.